All right. Welcome to Guaranteed News. I'm your host, Garrett. Of course, if you're watching, I say it all the time. Thank you. Please subscribe to the channel at GS Studios, GSTEWDIOS. This is not going to be, I usually don't have long intros. This is going to be even shorter. This is part 4 of a series that I'm doing. What is going on in LA? A series I've been covering. If you haven't watched part 1, 2, 3, this would be 3 or 4, I think. This is 4. If you haven't watched the other parts, go watch those. But yeah, I'm covering it from multiple different sides. This episode is going to be about the conversation about this is the conversation of what's going on right now. This is what Latinos voted for, and Black people's role, the Black community, our role in what's going on with immigration right now. Now, I'm going to just in this episode go through my thinking process from the beginning to end. And this, more than any episode, is going to probably be one of those ones where I always say, I'm open to being right, I'm open to being wrong. My thinking on this has changed just on as I've seen certain things, and I'll get to that on this episode. I'm doing this episode initially, and this is a part in this series that could be, I don't know how long, I think it's gonna be 5 parts, but it could be more as I keep covering like the riots and the immigration, because this is something that I've talked about for years, or just thought about for years, but really started caring about, I'd probably say, when I was doing like the Guarantee News, when I had the computers. If you remember those, there's a story back then, but I don't want to go on a diatribe. If you remember those Guarantee News, like where I had the computers with the grass, that's when I started really being more like remembering. So not too long ago, but yeah. But this is a story that I've been thinking about because, you know, this conversation of Black people and our expectation of, and it started kind of around with me to a diversity, equity, inclusion, and what's going on with that. And I'll say it fast: the feeling that Black people have to be there for every other marginalized group to help them, and the intersectionality of Black people with every marginalized group. But a lot of those marginalized groups, when it is time for a together and a solidarity for Black people, it sometimes seems like we get the bottom of the totem pole, and that's a feeling that I had. And then I kind of went leaning more on the other side of that I'll get to, of intersectionality and how you care. And then I saw this video, another video, which is right before I filmed. I wasn't even going to film this video now, but I'm filming it now because I saw another video that described that initial feeling I just described so perfectly that I was like, okay, I have to come back and just do the episode now. And then I also have to say my feeling on this can change. I said this at the beginning of this series. This is a live document, this channel. My feelings change, the way I look at things change, etc., etc. But I'm just going to go through everything with this in my feelings. So again, the conversation on this being Trump's immigration policy, these raids, how he's doing it. This is what Latinos voted for, and what is Black people's role in this, and our role in immigration right now. So first, I'm going to just show a little source, just to show something, just some numbers. Come on. Reject the cookies. Come on. Is this not the article? Is this not the dang? I wanted to show a article showing the exit polls of the amount of Latinos and Latino men that voted for Trump just now, and I'll be able to find it fast. It's on my chat GPT. Just bear with me. Now, this is something that I want to just show to people because it just gives a little bit of credence to why this is even a conversation. If at first thing you're like, I want to turn this episode off. What is he talking about? Oh, let me just Google it. What are percentage of Latinos voted for Trump 2024? Statista. All right, we're getting it pulled up, and this is, let's see, close sidebar. We're ChatGPTing it. I know you may not like ChatGPT. Stay with me. We're at 4 minutes. Okay, let's see. And this says, here's a breakdown for clarity according to National Exit. And I want to say this, so if I can find the Statista, because you guys would trust that more than ChatGPT, even though what ChatGPT is saying. The Statista said it. The Statista data highlights, bro. And give me the article. Give me the article. Thank you. Exit polls suggest Trump major gains with Latinos. All right. I wanted to show this. I think this is important. Exit polls suggest that support for Donald Trump rose majorly among the Hispanic population in the 2024 election compared to 2020. While Trump did not get elected for a second term 4 years ago, he is projected winner. So this is before. Projected support for Trump among Hispanics surged by 13 percentage points to 45%. 45% of Hispanics voted for Trump, according to Edison Research exit polls. And I think it shows it right here. Yeah, exit polls. All right, graph. Hispanic voters, 45%. White voters, 55%. A 13 increase from 2020. A 3% decrease from 2020. Black voters, 12. Black men, 20%. That was a big thing, too. There was a big thing with black men. But, right, so there was a big... exit polls say that a lot of Latino voters, Hispanic voters, voted for Trump. Hispanic men, it's 45%, right? So there is this feeling of black frustration and black people saying, you know, you voted for this. You voted for this. How bad can I feel? And that's something that I've understood before. And I want to read this tweet because I'm going through the feeling of it all, right? I'm going through, or my feeling of it all, everything, my thinking with seeing this become like a thing on social media the last couple of days. So I'll read this. I saw this tweet by Grits and Eggs. He's a guy on TikTok, really good. Everybody says he watches him. I'm going to show a video of somebody else talking about him. A lot of people on TikTok watch him. If you're black or you kind of just hear, I don't even want to say if you're black, he's really good. I feel like most black people on TikTok watch him, but I feel like a lot of people on TikTok watch him if you just like a good mix of comedy and news and like, you know, coverage of things that isn't normally coverage or covered in mainstream media, right? He does a really good job and he's honest. He's to the point. He's good, right? So he says this, you probably read it by now. Black people have to reckon with anti-blackness being pervasive throughout all cultures, white and people of color alike. Our humanity and empathy and not wanting to see people done how we've been done, then being called upon like guard dogs from people who not only don't answer our calls to justice, but are on the phone with our enemies. So it's kind of fuck y'all too. Y'all figure it out. It's black and brown pride today, and I'm a nigga tomorrow. All risk, no reward. Okay? So that's I think some of my first initial thinking with this, right? Then you read, a book like Freedom is a Constant Struggle by Angela Davis. Then you think about intersectionality and you think about like, basically this book's what she's saying in it is that the struggle of one is a struggle of all, and if one person and one group is struggling, that struggle is connected to all struggle. And there's a lot I disagree with that and agree with that, but I'm a journalist. When I'm with friends and stuff, I don't really do this, but when I'm thinking about coming on here as a journalist, I'm always trying to like make myself think about at least like 3, 4, 5 different ways that I can think of something. So I'm looking at the one way that bro said on Grits and Eggs, and that's my initial thinking. Then I know I've read book on that. I'm pulling back from that. I'm looking at this video that I'm about to show, and then I think this. What I'm about to read is what my initial thoughts were on this after reading this, thinking for a little bit, seeing another video, this video that I'm about to show in a second, and kind of just going back on things I know. Just things I know from, I'm not a historian, but just knowing a lot of information about black history in America, not even just slavery, just the history of black people in America, intersectionality, where we are on the totem pole, different things of what happened to us, just reading about those things. I'm not a historian. I'm wrong about a lot of things. I look things up all the time that contradict what I think. I think there's a million ways to think of things, but this is kind of just going and trying to look at everything, be kind of aware of history, but also be, and I'm saying a lot because I want to line things up before I show this, but also being, being emotional, but thinking about it from the way of all struggle is all struggle. These are my initial thoughts, okay? My initial thoughts. Starting now. I think there's a way of looking at this topic and saying, look, Mexicans don't seem to care when there are major things affecting, or not even Mexicans, I would say the Latino community. That's what I wrote, but let me be better. The Latino community don't seem to care when there are major things affecting and hindering the black community. They say a nigger all the time, and they don't support the black community in times of struggle. And while I do believe this is a conversation that needs to be had, I don't think it necessarily needs to be had at this moment. And why I understand that sentiment, I think I might have said that loud. I'd be lying if I said I didn't sometimes wonder or think about it, but I can't help but feel like it's the wrong road to go down at this moment. You know, I want to talk about, I'm saying I want to talk about this subject more, and I plan to on this channel, but I wanted to at least mention it and say that the feeling as well, oh yeah, the feeling of this is reasonable. I'm reading, but let me just talk. But look how Trump is going about immigration right now. Like the use of his presidential powers, how he's extending them, how he's testing them, how he's testing the judicial system, and how it can be used in other ways against black people, immigrants, and honestly, poor to middle class people as a whole. Poor people are a marginalized group now. And I think when you look at how he's doing immigration and think about how it could affect me, how it can affect your personal identity, you can easily or more easily care, because it's easy to say, if it's not affecting me, I won't care. When it starts affecting me, I care. And that's kind of what I was saying initially. And this guy basically said that in this video, and he says it in a really good way. So I'll play the video, right? We're at 10 minutes. That's not too long. This guy says it in a really good way, so I'll play it.
So Deontay Kyle released this take on Twitter about what's going on in LA right now. And honestly, we need to deconstruct it, because this is leading into a very reactionary analysis about what's happening right now. The fuck y'all till y'all figure it out line is so wild, because black Latinos, Haitians especially, are being affected by ICE as well. And we're black Americans, right? We understand how the repressive state apparatus operates. Do you seriously believe that ICE is gonna only target people who don't have citizenship? No, they're talking about going after naturalized citizens. They're getting rid of due process law. They're talking about getting rid of habeas corpses, right? Like, they're gonna come for black Americans, African Americans eventually. Be so fucking for real. And honestly, I understand where his anger is coming from. Like, I get it. Anti-blackness is global. There is disillusionment between our communities, for sure. But your anger is being targeted at the wrong people, because you're not viewing this through an intersectional lens at all. Deontay's take actually comes from a broader issue of people generalizing Latinos as one hegemonic group. And his take just fails to apply a race and ethnicity and a class analysis onto the issues surrounding them because of it. Like, most of the issues you have with your generalized view of Latinos actually comes from white and brown bourgeoisie Latinos who voted for Trump. Because the people who are currently being taken away by ICE as we speak, the people who don't have citizenship or were in the process of getting citizenship and got arrested at the courts, yeah, these people can't vote. And they couldn't vote 7 months ago. But the issue is, these white and brown bourgeoisie Latinos oftentimes imprint their warped ideologies onto lower class, working class, brown and black Latinos who don't have citizenship and try to assimilate into white America. And they use these white and brown bourgeoisie Latinos as a shining example of how to assimilate, of how to get into white America. You feel me? But that doesn't mean we just say, fuck y'all till y'all figure it out. No, because applying a race and ethnicity and class analysis onto the issue actually shows us why the disillusionment between our communities occurs and how to fight back against it.
Okay, you've heard enough. So you get the point. When at first I had those thoughts of what I just said, and then I saw that video and I was like, yeah, that's what I'm leaning towards. This is but it's something we need to talk about more, and it's very real, this thing. And I was like, that's what I was coming to say on this episode and say, but I'm open to being wrong. Then I was scrolling and I saw a woman describe the feeling I initially had, the feeling that, and we'll get to this, because a couple, like, fuck trying to be all, like, doing this, like, perfectly. Then this, like, Grits and Eggs, I was going to sort out thing. He said I was on here drunk being reactionary. I do better. So I saw a woman perfectly describe what Grits and Eggs was saying drunk, and what I was thinking initially, more emotionally, or just a knee-jerk reaction. She described what I was thinking in such good words, with a way that I think I wasn't prepared to do, that I have to play the entire video. And it now makes me think, like, I'm going and leaning back more to what I was, I'm kind of like leaning, it's like, it's very nuanced, and there has to be something. I'll play this video and then I'll get to it at the end. But what she says is just like, you can't argue with it. I'm going to play it. it seemed so, it was emotional, but so rooted in facts and so well explained. It is a great 22. It's a great 2 minutes and 22 seconds. All right.
Black folks into being your pack mules and your scapegoats yet again for your fight for freedom is anti-black, and it is perpetuating white supremacist delusion. Period. I believe in functional solidarity. Functional solidarity is the collaboration across culture for the greater good of humanity. Anti-blackness cannot exist there, period. Since the first of my ancestors stepped off of that ship into enslavement to this very day, we have been the social experiment that whiteness used to establish systemic oppression that they would enforce on literally.
All right, don't let me stop, because I don't want you guys to miss what she's saying, because she's describing something so perfectly. Let me say what she's saying. She's the way I'm taking it. She's saying that, and dang, I'm getting all lost up in my own thoughts because it's so crazy. Hold on, let me go back. Let me say it this way. I say to people all the time when I get into a conversation about this, if I were to have you write, this is a crazy thing to do, but it's why I say, I've already said this to people. If I were to have you write down from the race that's getting treated best in life to the race that's getting treated worst in life on this earth, a list from every single one you could think of, from 1 to whatever your list, I'm not even going to say a number, right? If you choose the first one and the last one, every single body in the world are going to have the same answer, and everybody else, we'll have something, but everything else will be maybe a little different. You'll say, oh, I'm this, but the first one and the last one are going to be the exact same way. And that's why the plight of the black person should not at all in any place, like she's saying, exist anywhere in a society of I don't even want to misuse her words. I want to go back, but let me go back. That's why she's saying it shouldn't exist anywhere in intersectionality, and it seems like it always does. That's what I said. That's the feeling, that I was having somewhere in my soul. I couldn't describe it right. And then let me go back a little bit, but that's what she's saying so far to now. We're at the bottom of the totem pole. And you guys, the first 60 seconds of what she was like, 20 seconds, so much in 20 seconds. That's what I'm saying. It's a big 27 seconds. In the first 5 seconds, you Latinos trying to gaslight us into feeling bad is anti-black. When I first heard that, I was like, no, let me argue with that. But then I said, shut up, nigga. Think. It damn near is. Yeah, kind of. In a way, it really... let me let her go. So I just wanted to describe that because she said a lot there. She came out the gates swinging haymakers. But let's go. Let me go back. Let's go.
Very day, we have been the social experiment that whiteness used to establish systemic oppression that they would enforce on literally everyone else.
Scale, list.
It happens to this day.
I know you may not want to think it happens every day. I promise you, it does. It really does.
Period. Now that folks are sitting down, it is not that we don't have empathy. It's not even that we don't care. A lot of us told y'all this. We told y'all this. Y'all saw.
I don't like the told y'all. I do, but a lot of us do have empathy and care. I don't like the told y'all, but I don't want to disagree. She's cooking. Keep going. No disrespect to her. She's cooking. I don't want to disagree with her.
What they were doing to us, and then they did it to you. And then a lot of y'all still voted against your own best interest. This is not about
that percentage, that statista that I wanted you guys to see really badly. Are we still recording? Okay. That statista that I wanted you to guys see, don't remember that. I mean, don't forget that. Let me just go back to it real quick. A lot of them, 45%. 54% of Hispanic men, 37% of women, 20% of black men's a lot. Let's be, I want to be honest with everything here, but she's saying, let's just go back a little bit.
Us, and then they did it to you. And then a lot of y'all still voted against your own best interest. This is not about me pointing fingers. This is about me trying to wake you people up so that you understand what your real fucking enemy is. These people have convinced you that you are quote unquote better than us because you're not black on the social hierarchy of whiteness. And now because all of these things are happening and we're not going to keep putting our lives on the line in the same way in order to be able to support and to scapegoat and to be your pack mule, now it's a problem. We kept being abandoned at every turn. We begged these people to stop killing our children.
She was talking about, well, really, I would say like Trayvon Martin all the way up to like 2020. That's what she's talking about. I'm just telling you what she's talking about. Like, you're like, what she's doing right now. If you're like, what she's talking about, I'm just telling you what she's talking about.
And some of y'all still blamed us for it. And still do. If y'all want this shit to work, you need to identify your anti-blackness and dismantle it now. Now.
That is something that should be thought by a lot of people about doing. And she's describing it in a very harsh way, but a very historic-based, very well-presented way. It's very good. She is good. ASIAMBER0, as I am Amber. I don't know. I'm sorry to say that's her name. You see it there. I haven't looked at any of her videos, so I don't want to just give her the go. She's great, or she's like I agree with a lot of she says, but this is beautiful work.
Because if we want to keep it a buck, a lot of the reasons that people are even getting up and doing anything is because we stopped. And it's not because we don't care. It is not because we don't have empathy. It's because we're tired of dying and being abandoned for the work that we're trying to do, not just for Black people, but for the greater good of humankind. Lock in.
And then I'm going to go back. I was going to show this last. I was on here drunk being reactionary. I'll do better. Because the way that he described it at first and the way I thought about it first was reactionary, a tad emotional. The way that the guy I showed you before described it was completely on the side of intersectionality. The way that she describes it is the perfect way of describing it and demanding something that happened, that something needs to happen that I believe for this to work. And it is that Black people have to have empathy, and we have to realize how this can affect us and how this in marginalized people of as a whole really need to realize of how these things can affect them. But with Black people, there does have to be also, for this to work, how she said in her exact words, a examination of people's anti-Blackness. And I don't think, it's not really cool to do that. Like, it's not really, people don't tell you to analyze your anti-Blackness a lot. But, it makes you really, it's a perfect way of saying a thing a lot of Black people are saying right now, and a thing that's going on Twitter a lot. She's saying it, I think, in the best way that I've seen, and it does need to happen. I think it needs to be a movement on some sides, both sides, but there has to be an analyzation of Black people's anti-Blackness, while Black people still have to realize they need to identify and care about what's going on here right now. And my opinions on this can be better and switch, but this is an interesting topic to me, and that woman described it perfectly. Immigration, what's going on in the country right now? It's crazy. All of these are crazy. All right. Subscribe to GS Studios. Thank you for watching. Shout out to all the creators I showed in this. Yeah, that's a wrap. That's a wrap on that one. Definitely. Let's get it over.